Hi guys and girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. So I'm really pleased about to bring you another Pagani design. This is the PD-1723, but a version 2. On talking to AliExpress store, they were saying to me, no, it's not a version 2, it's just an improved version. For me, that kind of still means the same thing, if I'm being honest. I think it's a version 2. They've gone for a few different things on this one, actually. They've refined the finishing on the bracelet. They've put an exhibition case back in. They've changed bits on the dial. They've changed the clasp. Have they put the same clasp they use on their generic, as a generic clasp? I'm not sure. If they have, then we all know what I think of that clasp, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking that either. So let's hope that's not the case, because this watch was one that I really liked, actually. I like the version 1. The version 2 has legs. One of the big things I didn't like about the version 1 is instead of saying automatic on the dial, it said PT-5000. Which for some isn't a deal breaker. Fortunately on this one it says automatic, so they do listen. You got to give it to Pagani Design. A few reviewers said the same thing. They've listened, so yeah, that's to be applauded. Will the version 2 be the one for you? Will it be better than the version 1? Will it be the same? I guess there's no time like the present to find out, but thank you for tuning back in. I do appreciate all your support, and with that being said, let's get the camera turned around and get on with it. Hi guys and girls, so this is the watch. As I said in the brief intro, it's the version 2 of the PD-1723. Their sort of vintage Rolex Air King homage. Very quickly again with a version 2, which probably means they should have done it in the first place. Comes with a screwdriver. Actually came in quite handy for me to size the bracelet, as it has got screw pins. Cleaning cloth, hang tag at the top, and just down the side you'll see that I've taken 3 links out for it to fit my wrist. Apologies for the focus there, guys. Inner foam, warranty card, all that stuff you normally get with Pagani Design. They do a few different iterations now of this sort of box. One that sort of you pull up, other one that just flips back. But it's much of a muchness really. They all do the same thing. And this is the watch. I went for the black version this time, given I went for the gold last time, just for a bit of variety. There has been a few changes. We'll run through them as we go through, and I'll let you know if that at the end, really, if I think it's been an overall success in terms of what they've done. So as I said, PD-1723 version 2. Inside it's running an automatic PT-5000 movement. I'll bring some information up about that movement now. This seems to be a very popular high beat movement they use at the moment. It's a clone of the ETA 2824, and it's one that's quite affordable. It can run within cost parameters, and it can be certified and stuff and all that good stuff. And like I've said, this one's running sort of 7 seconds faster a day. I've never had one that doesn't run between plus and minus 10 seconds a day, which is very impressive. I'll take that all day long. Yeah, so that's the movement. The case construction, or excuse me, the watch construction is, so that's the fixed high polished bezel crown case. Outer part of the exhibition case back, as you'll see, that's a slight change from the original, and the clasp is also clasp bracelet, all 316L stainless steel. A mixture of brushing and polishing. As I said, high polished bezel, polished at the sides of the case, brushed on top. That continues with the bracelet, where it's brushed on the top, polished at the sides. Same with the clasp. This clasp has surprised me slightly. It is kind of similar to the one they use usually, but it just feels a bit more refined and stuff. But yeah, the brushing on it is done nicer. As I said, screw pins, add an exhibition case back there, brushed on the outer part of the exhibition case back also. The case thickness of this watch is going to be very similar to the version 1, but it's 12.7mm thick. The case diameter, when you go from the 8 to the 2, it's coming in at 37.3mm. When you go from the 9 to the 3, including the crown, that is 40.3mm. The lug width on this is 20. That does taper down to 16 and back up to 18mm at that clasp. And the lug to lug, tip to tip, given it has got female end links of the center link, is 44mm. So yeah, nice compact watch, which is why I liked it in the first instance, as well as a few other bits and pieces. The bezel on this, as I've said already, it's a fixed high polished bezel. And you can see lots of blue AR coating on there this time, guys. I don't remember it being quite so strong last time, so that must be something they've definitely looked at. The case back, we'll have a better look at it now. They've gone for a gilt movement. Not that it really matters, but it does look nice. It shows off the PT-5000 movement. If I can just get it to focus, there we are. 25 jewels, gold. I'll leave some pictures at the start as well. Yeah, and it is sapphire crystal on the back as well, so it gives us a nice sapphire sandwich. The crown is situated at the 3 o'clock, and when it's screwed in, it seems to sit almost bang on. So I don't know if that's a fluke or what, but that's how this one is. Deep etched, screwed down, reasonable, like a really good size actually. I like that for the size of the watch. I think it's a good size crown to really engage with. The strap material, as I've already mentioned, stainless steel, brushed on the top, polished at the side, screw pins, and that continues with the clasp. The one thing that surprised me about this clasp, guys, because I've never been a big fan, is it just feels a bit better. The hinge is nicer on there, it clicks in nicely, and the catch actually feels flush when it closes. Still got the same micro adjustment, which is a bit of a nuisance to get in there, because when you use it has got a diver's extension on there. If I can open it, there you go. And then once you've used that, you can see it opens up inside just at the top, and that's where you put it in to slide it across. Don't really like it, but the clasp itself feels much better than the ones I felt I've used before, so that's got to be a good thing. The crystal covering the dial, obviously I gave the game away saying it's a sapphire sandwich. Yeah, sapphire crystal on the dial, and a really bit of box domed, very pronounced sapphire crystal at that. And the water resistance you've probably made out down at the 6 o'clock position. It's 200 meters, so that would give you 20 atmospheres of water resistance, and the weight will appear in the top right hand corner. It's in and around 120 grams, give or take, with 3 links. Remove with those 3 links back in, you're looking at 130ish grams, which is probably a good sweet spot for this watch given the dimensions. But let's have a look at the dial now, guys, in a bit more detail. So what you have is you've got a minute track going around the outer edge. It's not always easy to see, or at certain points you'll see because of the dome crystal. You can see this part, not the top bit, but it's all there. You've got yellow dots every hour. Inside that you've got applied indices everywhere. You've got an inverted triangle at the 12. You've got these faceted indices everywhere except for the 3, 6 and 9 where you've got numerals. I quite like the way the light plays off those faceted numerals that's everywhere else. All gold. And the hands also, they've changed the hands, they've made them a little bit shorter. I probably, if I could be nitpicking, would have liked them to be somewhere in between the length of this one and the old one. But yeah, I think this is something that you can't have it all, but that's just subjective. Some people think the proportions are nice. I don't mind the hands before, I don't mind them now, but if they could have been bang in the middle where they are but before and now, I think that would have been perfect. Matte black dial. You got applied Pagani logo. Again, it's really fantastic. They're now getting more consistent with the fact that they're not putting Pagani Design in script writing as well. I think that's a massive improvement. And automatic 200 meters equals 660 feet, just above the indices at the 6. As you can see, when I took the crown out, it does hack. Put it back in, it will start back up, and obviously you can turn the crown away from you, given it is a hacking and hand winding movement. Take it out to the first position. Unfortunately, there is a ghost position. Once again, I'm not going to beat them up too much about it just because it is their first watch with a high beat movement. But hopefully that's something they improve in the future. And as I say, take it out to the second position, it will hack. And then I can just screw it back up. The engagement on it is nice. The crown's a good size for the size watch it is. And in terms of screwing, unscrewing, yeah, it's been done really well. Green second hand. And that's the dial, that's the watch, guys. Let me just whack it on the wrist quickly, give you an idea of what it looks like on my wrist. My wrist is just above a 7-inch wrist for your reference. And when like I said, I took 3 links out for it to fit my wrist. And let's give it a quick wipe again. And that's what it looks like on me. Really like the colorway. I had gold before, went for black on this one. I think I've also got a white, but yeah, these are the 2 that I've reviewed so far. And yeah, a few upgrades. But that'll take me on now to what I think is pants and pucker about the watch. Given it's a bit clammy and I'm a bit sticky in London, let me just get the cloth they give you to give it a quick wipe. That'll probably do a much better job than my t-shirt at this point. But yeah, if you've ever watched before, you know what's coming up next. I'm quite rigid with my reviews just because I know that I don't want to miss things out, and I've got in my private life I do go off on a bit of a tangent talking. So but yeah, that'll take me on now to what I think is pants and pucker. We always start with pants, I like to kind of hide with pucker. So I'll bring up the pants section one now. I left it out before, I usually do it before, but it's the loom on the hands. I'll bring that up now. So the loom on the hands on this watch is really forgettable and really it's not good really. I was really surprised. You'll see that now. A bit of a shame. It would have been nice if they put a bit more loom. The hands of the indices is fine, but the hands is a bit regrettable. So yeah, the hands, the loom on the hands is all I would really say for pants. A couple of things that I will talk about at the end, but yeah, that's what I think is pants. What I think is Pukka, Sapphire sandwich all day long, twice on Sundays. Always going to say that. The dial, the fact they've now taken off the PT-5000 good for automatic and kept it nice and clean, and you've got a gold applied Pagani logo, and just the hands indices as well. The movement, yeah, the PT-5000 movement, I've raved about it many times, never had a bad one, so it's good that they've put this in this watch. The bracelet's much more refined. I didn't mind some of the coarse brushing before, but this is a much more satin brush. Conforms nicely, there's no problems with the links, really nicely done. And the aesthetic in terms of the watch itself, I think it's a watch that will get compliments. I've been wearing it for a few days, and I've had 2 or 3 people mention the watch, and I've sort of pointed them in the direction of where they could buy one. But yeah, it's the aesthetic as well. So what I think is Pukka is a sapphire sandwich, the dial, the hands and indices, movement, bracelet, and the aesthetic of the watch. And would I recommend the watch? Yeah, I would. I've only got one thing on there for pants. So yeah, I would recommend it. The things that they've improved, just to surmise, is the hands, writing on the dial, more refined bracelet, exhibition case back, and the clasp are really the things that they've improved. And each of them are okay actually. I don't mind when the clasp is done like this, and it's the QC is there. I would much rather have one with better access to the micro adjustment, but yeah, I think they've done a good job. And all in all, yeah, I like the watch and I'd recommend it. But guys and girls, please let me know what you think about this watch, and maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and always watch your time. Take care guys, all the very best.